I did everything they told me to do. And look where it got me. I studied. I worked hard. I was responsible. I followed the rules. I waited my turn. And you know what the result was of doing everything right? Stagnation, frustration, invisibility, and the bitter feeling of having wasted years following a manual that doesn't work. And now, when I look at my son, one thing becomes crystal clear. I'm not going to teach him what they taught me. I'm not going to pass along the same lies. I'm not going to program him for the same mediocre destiny, because there's a set of rules they sell you as universal truths, and when you follow them religiously, they take you to a very specific place: comfortable mediocrity. And the cruelest part is you don't realize it at first. You spend years believing you're on the right path, and then you look around and see that all the effort didn't generate growth, that following the rules only made you predictable, replaceable, invisible. And there are men who broke these rules, who took risks, who questioned, and these men are living completely different lives, not because they're smarter, but because they didn't accept the script. This video is part of a series on mental reprogramming for men who followed the rules and ended up trapped in mediocrity. And if you stay with me until the end, you're going to understand exactly which rules they sold you, why they don't work, and what should have really been taught. Let me tell you the rules they taught me and that I followed like gospel. Rule 1, study hard and you'll have a good job. So I studied. I graduated. I got a normal job with a normal salary. And I realized there were thousands of people with the same degree competing for the same positions. This rule made me a commodity, replaceable, just another one. Rule 2, work hard and you'll be recognized. So I worked hard. I arrived early. I left late. And you know what happened? They gave me more work, but the promotion went to the person who knew how to sell themselves, not to whoever worked more. Invisible hard work is never rewarded. It never was. Rule 3, be loyal to the company and it will be loyal to you. So I was loyal. I refused an offer from a competitor. I invested years. And when restructuring came, I was discarded like anyone else. Employee loyalty is expected, but company loyalty doesn't exist. Rule 4, be humble. Let your work speak for you. So I was humble. I stayed quiet. I didn't self-promote, and nobody noticed. Nobody spoke for me. Whoever doesn't sell themselves doesn't get bought. Whoever doesn't make noise doesn't get heard. And how many men followed exactly these rules? Did everything right? Believed the system rewards merit, effort, loyalty. And where are they? Average, frustrated, invisible. Because they followed the manual that was designed not to make them prosper, but to keep them productive and predictable. And when you have a son, you have a choice. Do you pass along the same lies, or do you have the courage to teach differently? To prepare him for the real game, not the idealized game? If you followed these rules and ended up frustrated, comment here, I followed the rules, because I want to know how many men were sold on the same script. Now comes the part that explains why these rules are so effective at keeping you exactly where you are. These rules weren't created to make you rich. They were created to make you useful, to turn you into a productive employee, a predictable citizen, someone who works, consumes, pays bills, and doesn't question. Who benefits when you're loyal to the company? The company. Who benefits when you work hard without self-promoting? Whoever is above you. These rules weren't made for you. They were made for whoever employs you. Robert Greene talks about this in the 48 Laws of Power. Innocence is not virtue when you're playing a game where everyone knows the rules except you. Being honest and straightforward in a structure that rewards politics doesn't make you noble. It makes you naive. And I was naive. I believed doing the right thing was enough, that the world was fair, that effort was rewarded, and I paid dearly. The real rules are these. It doesn't matter how much you work if nobody sees. It doesn't matter how loyal you are if you're replaceable. It doesn't matter how much you study if you don't know how to monetize. It doesn't matter how qualified you are if you don't know how to position yourself. And nobody teaches you these real rules, because it's not in the system's interest for you to learn. It's in their interest for you to keep believing the old ones. Keep being predictable. Keep being useful without being expensive. Keep producing without demanding much. And I'm not going to do this with my son. I'm not going to program him to be the ideal employee who never prospers. I'm going to teach the real rules. That the world isn't fair. That effort without strategy is waste. That loyalty without reciprocity is weakness. If this is making sense, like and follow the channel. This helps this content reach those who need to hear it. Let me ask you a question that will reveal if you still operate from these old rules. If you could go back in time and give advice to your 20-year-old self, what would it be? Not the generic answer, the hard truth you wish you'd heard before, wasting years on the wrong path. If the answer is, don't trust the company so much, or learn to sell yourself better, or don't wait to be discovered, then you already know. The rules they taught you were lies. You just don't want to admit it, because admitting it means accepting you wasted time, that you could be in a different place. And I understand. Accepting the rules were wrong is accepting that maybe your parents were wrong, your teachers. Everyone who passed you these rules was operating from the same ignorance they inherited, but they didn't deceive you on purpose. They simply passed along what they learned. The problem is what they learned was for a different time. For an economy where loyalty meant something, where hard work guaranteed progress, that world doesn't exist anymore. And operating from old rules in the new world doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you obsolete, predictable, replaceable, invisible. Now let's talk about what I'm really going to teach my son. The rules nobody taught me. First real rule: perceived value matters more than real value. It doesn't matter how capable you are if nobody knows. Learn to position yourself, to sell yourself, to make noise, because the world doesn't discover hidden talent. The world rewards visible talent. Second real rule: loyalty is a transaction, not a virtue. Be loyal while it makes sense, while you're growing. But the second it stops making sense, leave, without guilt, because the company would do the same without thinking twice. Third real rule: you're not paid for effort, you're paid for the value you deliver. Stop measuring success by hours worked. Start measuring by impact generated, by problem solved, by value created. Fourth real rule: build assets, not resume. Every year working for someone else without building something of your own is a year you're not building freedom. Build skills that make you irreplaceable. Build networks. Build systems that generate income without your direct time. These rules change everything. When you operate from them, you stop being a victim. You stop waiting for the world to be fair. And you start playing the real game. And this creates true financial direction. You're no longer following the script of study, work, wait to be promoted. You're creating your own path, building something that doesn't depend on permission, becoming someone who has options. And therein lies the real purpose. Not in following rules, not in being respected for doing what you're told, but in creating legacy, in being an example of self-mastery, of someone who understood the game and played to win. And if you want me to dive deeper into how to teach these real rules to your son, comment here, real rules. This could be one of the next topics in the series, so I come back to the beginning. I did everything they told me to do. I followed every rule. I believed every promise. And I ended up exactly where these rules lead. Comfortable mediocrity. There's no going back. There's no recovering the wasted years. But there's something I can do. I can make sure my son doesn't make the same mistakes. I can pass along not what they taught me, but what I learned. And maybe you have a son too, or will have, or have someone who looks to you as a reference. And you have a choice. Do you repeat the script they sold you, or do you have the courage to teach differently? And now you know. Working hard doesn't guarantee anything. Loyalty isn't reciprocated. Humility isn't noticed. Doing everything right according to the manual doesn't take you anywhere special. The question is, are you going to do differently? And there's a specific path to doing differently. There are ways to teach critical thinking without creating empty rebellion. There are ways to develop self-confidence without arrogance. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in the next video of this series. I'm going to show you how you prepare your son, or yourself, for the real game. How you teach the lessons nobody taught. How you build a mentality that thrives. How you create real legacy. So if today you recognize the rules in yourself, if you saw how much time you wasted following the script, if you decided you're not going to pass the same programming forward, don't stop here. Because today you understood the problem. You saw the rules that trapped you. In the next one, you'll learn what to teach in their place. And that's what changes generations.